Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Digimon Adventure 2020, episodes 11 and 12. So, it's been a couple weeks because we took One Piece week off, obviously, from doing pretty much anything else. So, it's been a couple weeks since our last Digimon, and we left off. They had defeated Metal Tyrannomon as Greymon digivolved into Metal Greymon. But they were left at this swamp of miasma that was blocking their path to getting to the Holy Digimon. So they had to split up, or they chose to split up. They really didn't have to. As I stated last time, it was completely by choice and a completely dumb choice because it made no sense and it was just really stupid. It weakens their forces considerably. Um, but they chosen to do it. They're going their separate ways. We don't know what the teams are going to be. Like I talked about that last time too. Like how the teams would divvy up. No matter what, it wouldn't be fair. No matter what, the teams would not be even, and one team would be left much weaker than the other. But I'm interested to see how this goes either way. We still do not have TK and Patamon, so I still have to believe that Patamon, and by extension Angemon, of course, is the Holy Digimon. I guess we'll see. Now, one thing that was brought up in a review I watched, I'm watching this channel called Billiam. On it, he and his friends and all, they do these like lump reviews every month of like, oh, this month's episodes and all. And after episode 10 was when when they got to the next one. So um he just they talked about they talked about how oh god, my mind is blanking. I hate it when that happens. Um oh my god, really? I just had it in my head too. Oh yeah, yeah. Never mind. I remember. They talked about how the ultimate evolutions were being introduced a lot quicker than in the original series. Um, because in the original series, it was meant to be like something big, something special, something that they worked up to. But in this, it seems more rather that they're introducing it earlier on with a quicker pace, but kind of like still treating it as something special. But they want to introduce it earlier and earlier, get it out of the way maybe, because let's be honest, this is a rebrand of an old property. It is a reboot, so it's like there's going to be so many people who understand what all of this is and aren't going to want to wait forever to get to certain things, and they're already like pacing other things out to have those be longer, such as with the introduction of the characters. So it's like they're kind of giving and taking. I mean, remember, this is the series that introduced Omnimon in like the second episode. When in the original, Omnimon was like not even until the Diaboromon incident. The it's just some people might find this pacing off-putting. Some of the original fans might find this pacing off-putting because it's like, again, it's introducing things way too quickly on some cases, and then on other cases it's not introducing things quick enough. And the big problem I find with that kind of mindset is that it's trying to equate this too much to the original series. It's trying to compare it too much to the original without taking into account that this is a reboot. It's meant to change things. It's meant to update things. It's meant to make things different. Most reboots um, either make things too different to where they're unrecognizable and just ruin the franchise, like Powerpuff Girls 2016, for example, or they don't change enough. This one I feel is getting a good balance there. This still feels like Digimon. We still have all this familiar stuff, but at the same time, it's changing enough to where it feels new and fresh. And I've talked about this plenty of times before, so I'm not going to go too much into it today. Um, but with this situation, with the pacing and introducing of stuff, I think it's actually smarter to introduce it quicker like this. It's not like we're going to see these forms constantly. We're not going to see Metal Greymon all the time. No. It's just they're introducing it so we have that frame of reference for like when we know it needs to show up. So yeah. That's all it's doing in my eyes. Um but overall I'm really enjoying this. I think it's really handling itself well. As a longtime fan, I'm very pleased by how it's being done. And I can't wait to see what more they do going forward. So we're just going to get started. We have two episodes because, of course, we missed the episode for One Piece week, and then there's this week's episode as well. Um, so yeah, I'm hoping for the best. I don't know what's to come other than them splitting up and trying to get around the miasma towards where they're headed. But otherwise, yeah, let's just get this going. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirecting of the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black, then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episodes. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so yeah, we're kind of going with the theme here. We have Ty unleash his ultimate level. Now everyone else is doing it. So the first episode here was Matt's episode. Um, at least his ultimate level episode. So they're heading through the desert after having split up. Um, we have Matt teamed up with Sora and Joe. And while both Sora and Joe can be competent at times, it's just like Sora definitely much more so than Joe. It's still very uneven of teams. I talked about this during the reaction, but it's like the teams are very uneven, and I mentioned it last time too that they would be that no matter what, just because of Izzy or Koshiro, Izumi being on one of the teams, like because yeah, obviously Ty and Matt would go separate ways, kind of being the leaders. But then no matter which team Izzy went with, which obviously it's going to be Ty, just because they're best friends at this point, it's going to be uneven because of that. Again, Sora's kind of competent, but compared to the others, she doesn't hold a finger to them. She just doesn't stand a chance at comparison's sake. Like, their forces are so weakened. But, on the plus side, Matt's team is going to be apparently meeting up with Leomon, from what we can gather. So that is probably what's going to turn the tides, having them meet up with a different, with this resistance group. That's going to help them kind of even things out, I feel. So there is that. But yeah, so they're crossing the desert and they end up seeing these Digimon being attacked while trying to cross. They help them out, finding out that they have been trying to cross the desert, and Scorpiomon and these bug Digimon I can't remember the name of, they've been stopping them. So Matt has the others go off on their own, helping out and everything. But ends up they're basically just bait in order to lure Scorpiomon out. Matt comes in, and we see the Digivolution to Were Greymon. Yeah, as I said in the reaction, when I was growing up, a lot of my friends and stuff and people in school, like, Were Greymon was their Digimon, the one that they were just obsessed with, specifically Were Greymon. Him and Were Garurumon. Sorry, I was saying Greymon. Were Garurumon. Uh, Were Garurumon and War Greymon, both of them were the most popular. But Were Garurumon was definitely, I think, more so. Funny enough. Um, but I was never kind of on that train. Like I like them well enough, but for me, even growing up, I was more into other ones. Not even so much the uh Digidestined ones, except for, like, Angemon, Seraphimon for TK, and for Kari, obviously Gatomon and Angelwomon. Um, I always liked those ones. I always liked Lilymon. Um, I kind of always liked the pretty ones. um, the pretty ones, the kind of not really softer ones, but the ones that weren't so heavily badass, I guess you could say. Like, I always liked those ones more. And looking back on it, it's obvious why, but still. Um, yeah, it's just they always appealed to me. And so it's like I'm fine with where Garurumon, by the way. It's not like I don't like him. It's just, yeah, I just was never as big a fan as other people. But we got to see him fighting. He took out Scorpion on pretty easily. And they really, like, put, like, a lot of effort into making him look like your typical kind of badass character. Like the way he, like, grabbed the scorpion stinger in two fingers, and then it's like basically was like the guy Scorpiomon was coming at him from both sides, so he just put up his hands. It's like, nope. And then even with the, like, flurry of kicks and everything, it's just like they were just trying so very fucking hard to make him look as badass as possible. Um, it's like Metal Greymon, when they introduced him, they made him look kind of intimidating as fuck. Let's be honest, like, the introduction of Metal Greymon was intimidating. It was scary. It was intense. They made Metal Greymon look frightening, honestly, which I think works. So by comparison, then the next ultimate level Digimon they introduce, Were Garurumon, instead of frightening, they make him look badass, like this cool fighter guy, who you just, like, really look up to and admire, kind of thing. Like, that's kind of what they make him look like. And of course, we'll get more into it in a moment, but they make Lilymon, the next ultimate level they introduce, be gentle, demure, very, uh, what's the word for it? I can't think of the word for it, but you know what I mean. Very soft spoken, really, and very cutesy and everything, pretty. It's like each of these ultimate level Digimon not only just generally look different from each other, just to, give them this specialized look that fits with their Digidestined and with their uh, styles and all, but they almost seem to be made as well to just really capture the personalities of their Digidestined. Tai is the main, like, leader of the crew, and by far up to this point in the series, has been the most, honestly, like intimidating, strong force of the group. I mean, let's be honest. Almost every episode shows Tai having Agumon digivolve and get in on the action. And almost every episode has a notable digivolution scene for Agumon. They make a point of it because they're making a point of showing that he is the main character. Um, More so than the others. Not that the others aren't important by any means. That's not true. But they're making a point of showing that he's the big one. And so it's like, yeah, they're going to, because of that, he comes across as, at least is trying to come across as, more intimidating. Plus, let's be honest, with Agumon and its evolutions being a dinosaur, a big Tyrannosaurus Rex like dinosaur, it's like, yeah, there's going to be that intimidation factor. Joe was kind of more the cool, quiet guy. Like that's his gimmick, that's his style. So yeah, where Garurumon is the same way. And Mimi is very soft and gentle and nice and very girly, let's be honest. She's very femme. So yeah, Lilymon reflects that. Each of these ultimate Digivolutions are reflecting the Digidestined that they go along with. And it's really interesting. Um, but we'll get more into that in a bit. This second episode here, episode 12, is the one I definitely liked the most out of these two. And I liked episode 11. I very much did. Um, like, seriously, that one Digimon, at least that one, was from Gen 3 or 4. I don't remember exactly which one. I want to say it's Gen 4. Yeah, because Gen 3 is the one with Renamon. Yeah, because I think it was Gen 4, because I think it was the same generation that everyone could, like, turn into their Digimon, which was weird as fuck. Um, but yeah, I think it's that generation. So the yellow rabbit guy, it's like, yeah, he was from that, and it's like, I know you. But anyway, so um, Ty's team, Ty, Izzy, and Mimi are exploring uh, a forest ruin, and Mimi ends up accidentally activating a trap. She falls down into this abandoned weapons factory where we meet two new Digimon. Well, actually, three, because we do see Hagurumon for a short time. But two ones that are mainly focused on. The first one that Mimi comes across is Gardramon. Although when she first comes across it, it's just kind of there and just kind of not really operational yet. So Gardramon, like this big robot dude, um, very defensive, and so she sees him and she like wipes the dust off of him, and it's just genuinely nice. Um, and so Gardramon ends up remembering that. But then we see Andromon. We actually see Andromon first, but Mimi doesn't. Andromon is controlled by a Soundbirdmon and starts to go on a rampage. He finds Mimi and sees her as an intruder and decides he has to eliminate her. Gardramon comes to her rescue, as do Izzy and Ty. And in the end, even even Metal Greymon is not really a true match for Andromon. Andromon proves to be too much even for him. Um, Gardramon keeps coming to the rescue, but Andromon basically kills Gardramon. Let's be honest. Like Gardramon died. And it's kind of implied that Andromon in the end did too, but I'll get to that. This upsets Mimi, like drastically upsets her. Like for a character who's generally pretty calm and nice and everything, and she doesn't get like genuinely upset that bad that easily. It was really impactful to see. And so to see her get legitimately angry, it's like that was intense. And the fact that it was anger and sorrow that brought about a Digimon like Lilymon, I just thought that was kind of funny. Um, Thinking about it, it's like, oh, your anger and sorrow allowed me to digivolve into Lilymon. And it's like you're so pretty and and flowery and femme and pretty. It's like you were brought about by anger. It just seems kind of silly, but it's fine. It's fine. I understand. I get it still. Um, but yeah, so Lilymon is the most interesting, unique Digimon we've seen so far. Because while most of the Digimon we've seen fight in pretty much the standard way you would think to fight, either throwing punches, using some kind of projectile attack, some kind of element based attack, that kind of stuff. Lilymon, while she can, and it shows her kicking Andromon, can fight that kind of way, and she even uses a missile kind of thing. She's very light, very flittery. She's kind of fluttering around, spreading petals everywhere, which is messing with Andromon's detection systems. And she's handling things in a lot more of a, well, just to put it this way, a lot more of a femme way. Like they make the point of like having her stand out from other ultimate level Digimon of our main team by not being some kind of badass or scary or intimidating Digimon. Instead, she takes literally the complete opposite approach. Togemon goes from being kind of cool and everything to being someone who's more, again, demure, more fluttery, more pretty and flowery and femme. And it helps her stand apart. And I think that's one of the reasons why I liked her in the original series too, because she stood apart. She felt different than the other ultimate level Digimon. Like, I believe uh, for Izzy, I believe Tentamon's ultimate level is Mega Kabuterimon. I think that's the ultimate level instead of actually the Mega level, like the name would imply. Um, and Ikakumon's, I think it begins with a Z, but I can't. I know what it is. Like he looks like this big walrus dude. He has a hammer. I just can't think of the name for the life of me. Um, I I'm not actually sure on Sora's ultimate level. I think Sora's ultimate level is like this big, like bird type humanoid with like red armor, but I'm not sure if that's actually the ultimate level or not. I'm not actually confident on that. But the point is, like, when you see most of these ultimate levels, it's like, yeah, they're really cool, really badass, really awesome. And then it's like you get these, and then you get Lilymon, who is the complete opposite of that, but is still super powerful and super needed for these battles and for these situations. Like, that's the thing. Metal Greymon could not defeat Andromon here, but Lilymon did. And it's insane. And it shows that honestly, the way I view it, the way it comes across to me is it's showing that these pretty femme, nice girls can be just as valuable. That just because they're not badass or typically strong, that doesn't mean that they don't have strength. That doesn't mean that they don't have use. And honestly, it's kind of inspiring in a way. It's telling that those kind of girls, those kind of people in general, like there's guys and non-binary people who are also very femme and very gentle, very soft and demure. Um, who this could inspire very much as well. It's telling them that they have worth, that just because they're not living up to some standard of strength or power or whatnot, that it doesn't mean that they're weak. Beauty is not weakness. Femininity is not weakness. That is the big lesson I get from this. Kindness is not a weakness. Because that's what this episode is about. And honestly, to a degree, that's what Mimi is about: kindness, gentleness. Yeah, there's times where she can be a little bit much. There's times where she's clearly very materialistic and very obsessed with her own looks and shit like that. But that by no means she's a bad person or anything. Mimi is extremely kind, extremely gentle, extremely just generous and helpful, and she cares for others. And this series has been doing wonders. Honestly, this has been doing better with Mimi than the original. The original series, it actually took time to build up to this side of Mimi. At first, it was mostly focused on the more materialistic side of her. Um, but this series is doing so much better, and just this is the character they're going for here. She is the gentle soul. She is the kind soul. That is her character. And I love that. I love seeing that. And honestly, like I said before, in the original series, Mimi was always one of my favorites. And honestly, she's becoming my favorite again. Because it's just like, I just love her character. I love that. I love that kindness. That just gentleness and beauty. Like, I just love that. So yeah. um she's definitely becoming my favorite again. Um, though Kari was always my number one in the original series, but she hasn't arrived yet, so we'll have to wait to see on that how she's portrayed in this one. But yeah, I really love this second episode. I just love. I mean, I loved seeing Andromon again. Like I remember Andromon from the original. Um, so it's like, yeah, that definitely, I definitely got that. And I think the Gardramon thing with Mimi was also done in the original too. I think this is, I mean, it is a reboot, but I think this like specific story was done, if I remember right. Maybe not with Lilymon in the original, but I'm not sure. But either way, um, yeah, I just really like the pacing of it. I like the story, the characters, how it was done, how Mimi just really got a chance to shine. Let's be honest, Mimi outclassed Tai here. Because again, Metal Greymon could not defeat Andromon. But Lilymon honestly did it super freaking easily. But this episode, even on top of all of that extreme, like, let's be honest, girl power stuff, it also had a really sad moment that actually almost made me cry. Andromon woke up right before he was killed. Again, I'm presuming he was killed. I'm presuming, and again, when Digimon die, as I've said in the past reactions, they are reborn into eggs and everything. But yeah, just like Gardramon, I'm presuming Andromon was killed by the attack. But right before he was overtaken, he woke up. We saw that he was no longer under control, and he had no idea what he had done. He was even asking like, "Wait, what's going on here? What's happening?" And then he got covered and everything. It's like he didn't know what he had done. He woke up a moment before death, not knowing what was going on, yet still having to pay for it. And that's really sad. And I think even beyond just Gardramon, who died protecting her, that also, I think Mimi noticed that. And I think that's why she broke down crying. I mean, as you know, Izzy and Ty were talking about at the end how Andromon and Gardromon were friends originally, and how Andromon was corrupted, like right after Mimi had started crying and everything. So I think she did notice, and I think that's why she broke down, because she realized how terrible of a situation this was. She did what she needed to do. Lilymon did what she needed to do, but at the same time, it's like it was a terrible situation and it shouldn't have happened. Lily, uh, Mimi was showing empathy, and when characters show empathy, like I am fully on board. um, as someone who's very empathetic myself, who cries at the smallest shit, really feeling for people. But yeah, it just means a lot to see characters like this, and Mimi is the best character to showcase that here for sure. Again, just going with her kindness and gentle spirit. Um, but yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I just really love how they're doing this series. So I assume we're maybe going to switch back and forth between each team for Ultimate Digivolutions, which means Sora or Joe would be next if we're going back to Matt's team. Which means one of them would be in this situation, Ultimate Digivolution, in line with maybe Leomon, with finding the resistance and all, which I would be cool with. I think that would be a cool idea. And then, of course, on the other side, we still have to see Tentamon's ultimate, which again I believe is just Mega Kabuterimon. Um, so we're probably going to go back to uh, Matt's side, do either Sora or Joe, then go back to Izzy, and then go back again and do the other one, either Sora or Joe, who wasn't done before. And then it's going to lead to them probably reuniting uh, at where the Holy Digimon is. Another thing to note, though, that I almost forgot to mention is that in the first of these episodes, Matt finally revealed to the others that he has a brother, Takeru, um, who, as I said, I'm probably going to still refer to a lot of the time, probably even most of the time, as TK, because that's what I'm used to in the original, because I did watch the dub. um, but I do know their Japanese names, so. But yeah, he mentions that he has a little brother and that his main goal in all of this is to protect him no matter what. That's all he wants to do here. And yeah, that fits perfectly in line with Matt and TK's characters in the original. Um, I still think that this is what it's leading up to, though. Patamon slash Angemon has to be the Holy Digimon. Um, Plus, I think there is even a little hint that maybe a little hint at that in the episode when Matt is talking about TK, and it's like, I want to protect him. He's still back. He might still be back home in Tokyo. He might have gotten out. I don't know. It shows Tokyo all dark because of the power outage, but it never actually shows TK at any point during that little scene back in the real world. It just shows Tokyo. We never get a glimpse at TK. Normally, that's what would happen. Normally, when he's talking about like his brother, like, and talking about him being in the real world, like, it would show him, right? I mean, that just makes sense from a visual perspective. But it did not show him. It didn't even show a glimpse of him or even where he would be. That I think might be even more of a hint that Patamon slash Angemon is the Holy Digimon. That I might be stretching there. I honestly admit that, but that's what I viewed it as, at least. Um, but yeah, either way, these were two very good episodes. I'm glad to be back with Digimon after a week off because of One Piece week. And I hope you enjoyed this reaction. Tell me down in the comments below what you thought of episodes 11 and 12 of Digimon Adventure 2020. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.